Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, doing another What's This Then for Sword of the Sea. It's a bit of a atmospheric exploration game along similar veins of Abzu and Journey. Brought to you by Giant Squid, which are the people that made Abzu, so no real surprise there. And I believe, if I'm correct, one of the creative directors, or maybe their creative director, or someone in the original team that made Journey basically left. Made his own studio, Giant Squid. And then made Abzu, The Pathless, and now Sword of the Sea. And Sword of the Sea, apparently, is very much inspired by the part of Journey where you're doing that, like, sliding along the sand, you know, like high speed, kind of, you know, lots of momentum kind of moment. And this sort of feels like, hey, what if we just made our entire gameplay of our next game, like, just like that? Wouldn't that be cool? And yeah, it's pretty cool. But this one released 19th of August there. So I'm a little bit late to doing my first impressions on it, but I haven't really seen a lot of coverage of the game, to be honest, so I'm more than happy to get this out there. And I've played for about 3 hours or so far. And it has been a very, very well spent 3 hours. Very relaxing. I've had a really good time with this game. Just to get some thoughts out there right away. But before we get into why, let's go through the options menu. So you've got a file select. You want to change your different profiles, maybe start again. You got that option. Let's go to the options here. You can invert the camera stuff. It's interesting that that's just like right here, you know. I guess I didn't have enough for a whole new menu just for those two. Gameplay, you can change different camera stuff and like motion blur and put a little persistent dot on the screen if you get motion sickness, because you are going to be kind of moving the camera around a lot, lots of motion, lots of, yeah, shifting the camera. So if you suffer from motion blur quite easily, then motion sickness, if you suffer from motion sickness quite easily, then this persistent dot might alleviate that somewhat. I will say the motion blur, I haven't actually touched. I think it works really well in this game. This is like one of the few cases where motion blur actually makes sense, and it's actually really well done in this. Really, really like it. And then you got like camera shake, sensitivity, camera follow. Like I said, you're going to be changing the camera around a lot. You're going to be lots of motion, so it's good that these options are here because you're going to need them. I personally haven't needed to touch them, but it's good that they are there. Controller. This is definitely what I would consider a controller prominent game. Personally, just because I find playing on controller more relaxing than mouse and keyboard, but each to their own in that regard. It's still very playable with mouse and keyboard. One thing that's very nice, remap controls. You can do full rebinding of the controls on this game, which is very, very nice. You don't really see that all too often. And of course you can do the same with keyboard and mouse, because obviously. Audio, pretty much everything you need. Controller volume, I haven't actually heard anything come out of the controller. I don't know what causes that or what doesn't, I don't know, but I haven't heard anything yet, so haven't much need to change that. And then graphics, not a hugely like tons of different effects and stuff going on, so you don't really need like a ton of different settings here, but what they've got is pretty much going to cover you absolutely. The only one I would say is FOV. No, there wasn't an option to kind of like zoom the camera out or anything, which would be nice. But yeah, a little FOV option, especially for those people that maybe get motion sickness and stuff, you know, it'd be very nice. Other than that, do your frame rate lock if you wish. There's a 30 and a 60 or unlocked. The game, so I'm playing at 4K with everything on, everything maxed out. And I definitely noticed the game gets a little bit framey sometimes, but it's not like, it's not chunky framiness. It's like, okay, the game is just doing a lot, and it is optimized. It's just, you know, 4K. You're kind of pushing it if you're looking for these, like, higher frame rates. Because I just leave it unlocked. So I do know sometimes when I go into, like, bigger areas, there's a lot more going on that I will feel it go down a bit, but not enough to impact my enjoyment of the game at all. Absolutely. And then you can just, you know, change all these different things. These are pretty much all the things you will be looking at some point. But yeah, pretty good options menu. Just a little FOV slider would be nice. That's really all that's kind of missing. I don't know if that's something that would fundamentally change how the game is designed. You know, some games like require or certain games tie certain things to FOVs or sometimes frame rates and stuff, and like changing those isn't just as simple as just adding it in. It requires like a whole sort of rework of a system. But it would be nice to see it there. Anyway, let's jump into the game. I'll hit continue. I started a new file just to show you guys here because this is the sort of game where, honestly, I don't want to be missing any of this while I'm like talking over it and playing and stuff. You know, I really want to just be sitting back and experiencing what the game's got. So, yeah, so this is a new save. This is like literally right at the start. I think you start right over there, and then like I just moved past the little like tutorial that tells you how to do buttons. But yeah, it is gorgeous, and we're not even at any of the particularly beautiful sections yet. But the whole game, like your screenshot folder is going to be full after this one, because you're gonna like I've been taking screenshots like every new area I find is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, you're sort of riding around a little skateboard. It's well, I say skateboard. It's a sword of the sea. But it's kind of what it feels like is a bit like a surfboard or skateboard. You know, you'll get some like moves throughout the game that really remind me of some like Tony Hawk stuff. So they knew how to throw the fun in there too. Yeah, and the movement actually feels like really crisp. Like you stop like pretty instantly because it's got like a bit of a platforming section. So. Or sorry, not section, but sections. Like, there's just times when you need to get that sort of refined, accurate movement to be able to do stuff, and this game sort of offers both, while maintaining this, like, sense of, you know, like, gliding around like this and stuff, which is, quite impressive, because I feel like if you tried to combine, like, a really tight, like, jumping system with another system that also has to be, like, very fast and fluid and momentum-driven, then it feels like those two things could conflict, but they've pulled it off rather well. Well, let's head on up here, and you can see one thing that this game does very well, and that is reveals into absolutely gorgeous landscapes. And this is, you know, this is not even high up there on the reveals I've seen so far. There's some areas you emerge into, and it is gorgeous. Reminds me a lot of, I swear to God I don't do this on purpose, but it reminds me a lot of Dark Souls or Elden Ring. One of the best things that From Software know how to do for their games is a big vista reveal where you just like turn a corner, you walk outside, and you're like, wow, that is gorgeous, or like, wow, that is impressive, or that's you know, it's just incredible. It takes up the whole screen. You're loving it. This game, it's one of its favorite things to do as well. You'll just be gliding along, go through a new little area, and then you see one of the most gorgeous things you've seen in a video game, which I think, if I remember right, is about to happen right now, just so you can see another like big example. Come cruising up here. Obviously this one's pulling the camera back, this one's a wee bit more of a title drop moment, but these sort of shots happen all the time, and then you're just sort of left to your own devices. There are no quest markers, there are no real indications as to where you need to go or what you should be doing. There's like almost no UI at all. There is UI for times whenever you pick up, there's like little tokens you pick up, and then you can give them to these little like jar-wielding people. I don't know, they haven't been given names or anything yet, so I don't know what you call them. Even if they will have names, they probably, maybe they won't. But they can unlock like new moves for you, and I don't really want to spoil what the moves are, but you know, earlier I mentioned Tony Hawk, so you can maybe imagine some of the stuff that might be going on there. But yeah, so you're just sort of released into the world and just sort of, yeah, just figure it out, you know, go find things. Like, oh, what's this over here? There's a couple flags and there's some things in the ground. I'll go over here and, oh, they light up when I go near them. What happens if I light them all up? And then Q to whatever you've just unlocked, you know, and now just through the sense of pure discovery on yourself, on your own basis, you know. Now you've found whatever this is. Those are the little tokens, they appear in the top left there. That's like the only form of UI element in like the entire game that's not there a lot of the time. You do have an ability to do this like pulse. Now I've not played Abzu, so I don't know if it's in there too, but if you've played Journey, you know, like this is how you interact with everything. Absolutely gorgeous effect on the sand there when you're doing it. I've just really noticed that now. Yeah, that's a beautiful effect. So you'll find little bits of like lore, little bits of snippets about what's going on, so you can Just read through those. Obviously, I've already read this. I'm just going to skip through it. But there is a story here. It's mostly like a background thing, so far at least anyway. You know, you're mostly just exploring and taking it all in, and you'll find little snippets here and there, and you'll be like, oh, I wonder if that's anything to do with what, you know, is going on with me, or I wonder if that's something that will come up later, or, you know, very, very fun way, pretty much a perfect way to do your story or your context, your contextual stuff in a game like this that really doesn't want to, it really doesn't want to take control away from you. Like, it'll do it sometimes, like, to show you, like you see whenever I opened that over there, it took the camera and sort of went, hey, look what you've got unlocked because you turned on all those things. It feels like that's more of a necessity of, like, okay, we have to do that to just show you, you know, we don't want you to miss the fact that you might have unlocked something that's maybe not all too obvious if the camera didn't sort of directly look at it. But like I said, it feels like something that maybe in playtesting they felt like they kind of had to do. Just because the game has no real, you know, direction. Obviously, there is only, like, one way to go. It's not like open world. We're not talking an open world game here. You just kind of have these, like, big areas where you're kind of free to just explore at your own pace. I would say there is only one slight caveat I've had with this whole system, or this whole way of doing things, and there was one time when I didn't know where the correct way was, and I decided to sort of pop my head in, so to speak, to an area, and it did a little cutscene, and suddenly I was locked into this new area and I couldn't go back. Now I've only had that happen one time, and it only seems to have been possible to happen to have happened that one time. And maybe if I was paying more attention, maybe I would have known that was the way to go, and I should have went back and explored everywhere else. But it's not like you're not missing out on a huge amount. You know, it's not like you're not playing like an RPG that has like side quests and it's like, oh, there's a huge content you've missed out on. But it's just, you know, it's one of those things. It would be nice to be able to go back and get whatever you miss. But then again, that's what replaying the game is for, I suppose, because at that point you'll know. So you'll have all sorts of different things like this, you know, so you just sort of go up to it, hit square, you'll activate your business, and this is one of the most gorgeous, like, effects in the game. This is, like, every time this happens, it's just, wow, you know. Absolutely incredible. I love finding areas like this that you just sort of activate the water, and the water is gorgeous. I mean, look at it. But that's everything in this game. Everything in this game is just gorgeous. And also, when you're moving on water, you move a lot faster, which is fun. Great little bit of, like, gameplay and story going together to let you know water is very important. You love the water. You love to see it. Look how much extra freedom it's given you. It's gorgeous. Look at all these fish, all this life. It's just brilliant. Brilliant stuff. And then these are the this little jar people. You give these the tokens you pick up. I don't know if they have a name. Maybe they don't. And you'll get some stuff. You'll get some things. And you'll notice that down there, they're underwater. So what do we do about that? You know, go over here, activate this, see what happens. Oh, it drains the water. You know, you'll have some light puzzling to be doing. Nothing too crazy. But this is where I was really saying about the Tony Hawk's comparison, because this is... Was this a half pipe? Is that what they call it? Yeah, half pipe. So now we're just doing Tony Hawk's now. Use the momentum to get up here. Talk to this person. Give 50 of the little tokens, and then we see what we get. After a little animation. And we got tricks. So now when you're in the air, you can hold L1, press any of the face buttons, and you will do a trick. Tetra. That's what the tokens are called. Tetra. I'd forgotten that. I think that's literally the only time you see that. Yeah, and that opens up, and we can head on through. And once again, just gorgeous vista. Now we can jump about and do tricks. There are occasionally score trials where you're told you have to beat like a certain score in a certain amount of time. And you're given like a cool little like Tony Hawk's tricks area to do moves in and stuff. usually to get more of the tetra. I just noticed a big statue of a character that looks a lot like me under there. That's interesting. And the music, as you can imagine, is just absolutely gorgeous. Lots of piano, very fitting for the tone and the mood. But it knows how to kick it into high gear whenever a wee bit more of a energetic scene is playing. Obviously I don't want to spoil anything about this for you, other than just to show what my first impressions sort of are. But it is so much fun. I've been having a great time with this one. To activate this, because this is a gorgeous one if I remember right. I mean, look at all that. That transition is just fantastic. Like, you know the devs like such a fine craft on that. Like so much like it's very easy to just take this sort of thing for granted. Like just how smooth that transition was, just how gorgeous it all looks, how well it all works, how you as a player now know, like through gameplay alone and not being told, like how certain things are, like incredible stuff. This is one of those things that's like, this is why I love video games. You know, there's so much goes into just something as simple as that. And yeah, so this is a little thing where you can just float on the kelp. Very fun. So you can use that to get up to the door. So this will be a typical thing, or at least so far it has been for me, where there's an area to get through and it's like a big door and you need to go and unlock a certain number of things to be able to progress through it. So head over that direction and do that puzzle, figure that one out, and then go and do the other one, and then progress through. And the whole time you're just listening to gorgeous music and looking at gorgeous visuals and uncovering, you know, just a giant skeleton that was just under the sand, and you're like, wow, like, what was that doing there? And you grind on its tailbone the whole way down, and yeah, it's just, it's a fantastic game. It's really, really good. I would very much recommend this, especially if you have played Journey or, I'd imagine, Abzu. I know Abzu was really, really well received. I have seen some stuff saying as well that, like, Abzu, you should probably play it before playing this. I don't believe they're connected, but I think spiritually and, like, conceptually, there's just a lot to appreciate between the two. So maybe you'll enjoy this more if you have played Abzu, but I'd imagine if you've played Abzu, you're already playing this, to be honest. But even if this sort of thing isn't your sort of game, I'd recommend picking it up. You know, make use of that Steam refund policy. Just see if you like it, because it's a very unique type of game, and it's a lot of fun. It's just really relaxing. There's just not a care in the world while you're playing this game. Really, really good. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Sort of a shorter one than compared to most of my videos, I suppose, but there's not really a ton to the game. Just everything that it does is just absolutely exceptional, and you know, not a lot of gameplay elements or mechanics to talk about, or at least certain ones I don't want to spoil and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, look at that, even the sky. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. But yeah, you can pick this one up for £24.99 or $29.99, and I personally would really recommend it. And like I said, you know, make use of that Steam refund policy. Try it out. Play it for a couple of hours, and if you're not just totally zenned out in that time, just cruising along at your own pace to this game, then yeah, it's not the game for you. But I'd be surprised if there's not something to like for everyone in this game, because it is just fantastic. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.